Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, where we will provide you fresh insights into South Asia's geopolitical, strategic and security situation. Let's take a look at the headlines first. India warns Pakistan terror will face unprecedented response. Early market closures in Pakistan spark anger amid energy crisis. And media under pressure, journalists in POGB expose deep-rooted crisis. Tensions between India and Pakistan have sharpened ahead of the anniversary of the 2025 Pahalgam terror attack. With fresh threats emerging from Islamabad, New Delhi has reiterated its zero-tolerance stance on cross-border terrorism. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has warned that any provocation will trigger unprecedented retaliation, underscoring India's evolving counter-terror doctrine. A report.
The April 2025 Pahalgam terror attack remains a grim reminder of the persistent threat of Pakistan-backed terrorism. 26 civilians were killed in a targeted assault that, according to Indian authorities, bore the hallmark of cross-border terror networks. The attack marked a critical inflection point, shifting India's response from calibrated restraint to assertive counter-terror action. Within weeks, India launched Operation Sindoor, a high-impact military response aimed at dismantling terror infrastructure across the border. Government sources indicate that multiple terror launch pads and logistical bases were neutralized in a swift, coordinated operation. This response built on a pattern established over the past decade, from the surgical strikes following the Uri attack 2016 to the Balakot airstrikes after the Pulwama attack 2019, reflecting a clear strategic shift, proactive deterrence against terrorism.
पिछले 11 वर्षों में चाहे वो इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी की बात रही हो, चाहे बाहर के दुश्मनों से सुरक्षा की बात रही हो, प्रधानमंत्री से नरेंद्र मोदी के नेतृत्व में हमारी सरकार ने नेशनल सिक्योरिटी को एक मजबूती दी है, नेशनल सिक्योरिटी को एक ताकत दी है। हमने नेशनल सिक्योरिटी से जुड़े हर मुद्दे पर सरकार के एटीट्यूड और एक्शन के तरीके दोनों को बदला है। और फ्रेंड्स, यह बदलाव पूरी दुनिया को हाल ही में हुए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान देखने को भी मिला है। पहलगाम में हुए आतंकी हमलों में आतंकवादियों ने जिस तरह धर्म पूछकर लोगों को निशाना बनाया, उसने पूरे देश को ही झकझोर डाला था। वह हमला सिर्फ हमारे लोगों पर नहीं था, वह भारत की सोशल यूनिटी और सोशल फैब्रिक पर किया गया एक बहुत बड़ा हमला था। और इसके खिलाफ भारत ने बड़ी और कड़ी कार्रवाई करते हुए पाकिस्तान में मौजूद आतंकी अड्डों और उससे जुड़े अन्य इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को तबाह कर दिया था।
India's security doctrine today rests on a rapid response and cross-domain capability. Defense officials highlight that during Operation Sindoor, Indian forces were prepared for simultaneous escalation across land, air and sea, demonstrating a level of operational readiness not seen in previous crises. At the same time, data from security agencies indicate a sustained decline in large-scale terror incidents in Jammu and Kashmir, even as infiltration attempts continue to be intercepted along the line of control. Amid these developments, Pakistan has responded with a series of provocative statements. Defense Minister Khwaja Asif has threatened retaliation, including remarks about targeting Indian cities, claims made without substantiating evidence. Analysts view such rhetoric as a continuation of Islamabad's long-standing strategy of denial and deflection on terrorism, even as global scrutiny over terror safe havens persists.
आज का भारत आतंकवाद के खिलाफ जीरो टॉलरेंस रखता है। वह इसके खिलाफ सरहद के इस पार और जरूरत पड़ी तो सरहद के उस पार भी वो अपनी कार्रवाई करने में पीछे नहीं रहता। साथियों, पहलगाम में हुई आतंकी घटना के बाद भारतीय सैनिकों ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान पाकिस्तान को महज 22 मिनट्स में ही घुटनों पर लाकर खड़ा कर दिया था और भारतीय मिलिट्री हिस्ट्री में आतंकवाद के खिलाफ किया गया अब तक का यह सबसे बड़ा ऑपरेशन था। और मैं आपको यह बतलाना चाहता हूं कि यह ऑपरेशन अभी बंद नहीं हुआ है। यदि किसी प्रकार की नापाक हरकत पाकिस्तान की तरफ से हुई तो हमारे सैनिक उसका मुंहतोड़ जवाब देंगे, जिसे वह कभी भूल नहीं पाएंगे।
With Operation Sindoor still active, India's armed forces remain on heightened alert. Intelligence surveillance has been intensified, border deployments strengthened, and counter-terror grids reinforced. As the anniversary of the Pahalgam attack approaches, India's position is unequivocal. Terrorism will be met not with restraint but with decisive and disproportionate response.
Pakistan's worsening energy crisis is now spilling into everyday life, with forced power-saving measures triggering public anger. In cities like Lahore, early market closures are disrupting businesses and daily routines. While authorities defend the move as essential, critics say it exposes deeper economic mismanagement where ordinary citizens and small traders are paying the price for a system struggling to keep the lights on.
Pakistan's deepening energy crisis is now reshaping everyday life, as rising fuel costs and electricity shortages force strict conservation measures. What is being projected as a necessary step is increasingly drawing criticism for its impact on businesses and citizens. The impact is clearly visible in Lahore, where markets and shopping centers are now shutting early under the government's conservation plan. Officials say the move is aimed at reducing electricity consumption during peak hours, but it has significantly altered the city's evening economy.
कारोबार में तो ज़ाहिर बात असर पड़ता ही पड़ता है। जो अब कस्टमर जो है वो रात का होता है। अब ज़ाहिर बात है गर्मी आ गई है तो दोपहर के टाइम धूप ज़्यादा होती है, कोई कस्टमर नहीं निकलते। कोई ऑफिस वाले लोग होते हैं वो नहीं निकलते हैं। रात को जो है वो लोग ऑफिस से 7 बजे बंद करके ऑफिस आते हैं, तो ज़ाहिर बात है फिर दुकानदार तो डिस्टर्ब होंगे ना इस चीज़ के मामला में।
Market associations have also raised concerns questioning the uneven implementation of restrictions and alleging that small businesses are bearing the brunt.
एनर्जी कहाँ से सेव हो जाएगी भाईजान? एनर्जी का आपने होटल खोले हुए हैं, उनको वो दिया हुआ टेक अवे हर चीज़ दी हुई है, तो वो कैसे जो लोगों ने पब्लिक ने जब घर बैठेगी नहीं तो पब्लिक का कहाँ से एनर्जी सेव हो जाएगी? ट्रांसपोर्ट भी नहीं सेव हो सकती, कोई चीज़ पेट्रोल भी नहीं सेव होगा, कोई चीज़ सेव कैसे होगी? हर स्टोर खुला हुआ है, बड़ा बड़ा स्टोर खुले हुए हैं, छोटे दुकानदारों को मार रहे हैं आप लोग। ये जुल्म ना करें। अगर कानून बनाना सबके लिए बनाए, पूरा पाकिस्तान को 8 बजे बंद करें।
For working professionals, the new timings are creating daily challenges, leaving little time for essential shopping after office hours.
जॉब पेशा लोग हैं, सुबह हमने 9 बजे ऑफिस जाना है, शाम को 7 बजे ऑफिस से 7:30 बजे तक घर पहुँचे हैं। बच्चों को लेकर बाजार शॉपिंग करने के लिए आए हैं, तो यहाँ पर हैं तो सारी शॉप्स बंद हो चुकी हैं, 8 बज चुके हैं। तो अब हम जैसे लोग प्राइवेट जॉब्स करने वाले हों या बैंक्स में जैसे लोग जॉब करते हैं, इन सब लोगों के लिए बहुत मुश्किल है कि आप किस टाइम शॉपिंग करेंगे। हमारे लिए तो बड़ा कन्वीनियंट होता था कि हम 8 बजे तक शॉपिंग करने आते थे और 10 बजे तक अपनी शॉपिंग वगैरह कंप्लीट कर लेते थे।
Pakistan's ongoing energy crisis is increasingly being seen as a reflection of deeper economic mismanagement and policy gaps. In Lahore and beyond, measures like early market closures highlight a system struggling to cope with rising demand and limited resources. Instead of long-term reforms, critics argue that such steps shift the burden onto small businesses and ordinary citizens, while failing to address structural issues in the power sector. As frustration grows, the crisis is no longer just about electricity, it is becoming a symbol of wider governance challenges facing the country.
Pakistan's sudden push to position itself as a mediator in the escalating US-Iran tensions is raising serious questions over its credibility and intent. Is Islamabad genuinely seeking peace or merely attempting to stay relevant amid mounting internal crisis and India's growing global influence? To decode Pakistan's strategic calculus, we have with us Robinder Sachdev, who offers sharp insights into Islamabad's diplomatic posturing. Hello, sir. Welcome to Newsweek South Asia. So, my first question to you is, can Pakistan genuinely position itself as a neutral mediator in the US Iran conflict?
Pakistan cannot genuinely position itself as a neutral mediator, of course, and that is known. Pakistan is positioning itself as a communicator. It is clear that Pakistan has leanings much more towards the United States. It has much more strategic interest with the United States. And also, Pakistan has a mutual defense treaty with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So, Pakistan is clearly in the column of the American axis. So Pakistan cannot position itself as a neutral discussant or mediator, but yes, it is fulfilling the role of a communicator, mediator, while it has some element of access to the top levels of Iranian leadership. And that's what's given it the positioning where it is now.
Has Islamabad already compromised its neutrality by avoiding direct criticism of Washington?
Pakistan does not need to avoid, any controversy with regards to where it sits on this spectrum. It is very well known Pakistan has deep strategic interests. It owes a lot to the United States. It wants to curry favor with the United States. It wants to curry favor with Saudi Arabia. So Pakistan in these discussions is not a neutral player, but yes, it is a player who is bringing together the other players and encouraging all of them to come to a common page.
Given its historical track record, does Pakistan have any diplomatic credibility left as a peace broker?
Pakistan has no, credibility, of course, in terms of what the Pakistani state does or can do, and neither does it have any diplomatic heft. The point is, in this current situation, Pakistan is playing a useful role for the United States with regards to its communications with Iran. Pakistan is not the one who is, pushing down both Iran and America to come to a common understanding. It's not the one who's cajoling them, explaining to them what are the pros and cons of the various points. Pakistan's role is to bring these players on the same table.
Is Pakistan using this mediation offer to divert attention from its internal crisis?
Pakistan certainly is always looking and always hunting for opportunities wherein it can increase its own economic conditions. It can get over the economic crisis, which is always a rolling crisis in Pakistan. In addition to the internal disturbances, the internal crisis within the state itself, which is there, Pakistan always looks at external activities to distract from its own failings within the country and wherein it's failing as a state. And therein, that's the reason it at times instigates, actions against India or promotes actions against India. It promotes a propaganda against India in order to divert the attention of its masses, the commons, towards India so that they do not pay attention or they get distracted with respect to the problems they are facing in their own daily lives.
Is this an attempt by Pakistan to counter India's growing diplomatic influence globally?
See, whatever Pakistan does, unfortunately, I think 50% of it, or perhaps you could say even 100% of it, is driven by its obsession with regards to India. It wants to do things better than India. It wants to have an economy better than India. It wants to have innovations more than India. It wants to have a military power, which is more than India. It wants its diplomacy to have more heft with regards to India. So that remains Pakistan's obsession. And in that process, that is where Pakistan has been making a fundamental mistake all across its history. Instead of focusing on its own national economic development, national infrastructure, and solving its internal problems, Pakistan has just been focused on India, the obsession, and whenever occasions arise, it leverages its geography to extract a rent from whosoever partners it.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights, sir. In Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, concerns over shrinking press freedom and systemic political interference are once again in focus. The unopposed election of a new press club cabinet has exposed deeper fault lines within the media fraternity. Journalists on the ground warn of increasing pressure, censorship, and state-backed control, raising serious questions about Pakistan's commitment to democratic values and freedom of expression. A report.
A new leadership has taken charge at the Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan Press Club after elections for the 2026-27 term concluded without contest. Tahir Rana and his panel were elected unopposed after the rival group led by Khurshid Ahmed withdrew from the race, raising concerns over whether the process reflected consensus or quiet coercion. The development comes amid growing allegations that Pakistan's establishment continues to exert influence over media bodies in the region. Gilgit-Baltistan, which lacks constitutional status within Pakistan, has long witnessed restrictions on political expression and media independence.
हमारा जो बेसिक मुतालिबा था, पॉलिटिकल विक्टिमाइजेशन ना हो, पॉलिटिकल इंजीनियरिंग ना हो, और यहाँ पे जो दस्तूर की खलाबर्जियाँ हो वो ना हो, पसंद हो ना पसंद ना हो, सेलेक्टिव मोरलिटी ना हो, इंतहाई एक फेयर और मेरिट के मुताबिक लोगों को रुकनियत दी जाए.
While journalist leaders describe the unopposed election as a step towards unity, critics argue it reflects the shrinking democratic space for dissent. In Pakistan-occupied regions like Gilgit-Baltistan, the situation is even more opaque, with limited access for international observers and increasing pressure on local reporters to align with state narratives.
हम आइंदा भी यही चाहेंगे कि हम जितने भी हमारे तजादात हैं उनको एक साइड पे रखें. जब हम एक इस फोरम के अंदर आते हैं तो हम सारे एक बरादरी के लोग हैं, एक ही आपस में भाई बहन हैं और हमारे दुख दर्द एक जैसे हैं. हमने आपस के मसाइल मिलजुल कर हल करने हैं.
Despite calls for unity, journalists on the ground continue to demand transparency, merit-based systems, and an end to political interference. The episode underscores a broader pattern where Pakistan projects democratic credentials internationally while tightening its grip on media voices in sensitive regions like Gilgit-Baltistan.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views, and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.